Hello. For those of you that do not know me, my name is Christy Bledsoe. I am here today to talk to you about inclusion in the classroom and how it can be beneficial to not only the students, but to you as their teacher. A simple definition of inclusion is when students with and without disabilities learn together in the same classroom. Now, I know that some of you, if not all of you, have concerns about an inclusive classroom. I want to address a few of the most common concerns that you as teachers might have. One of those concerns being the thought that separate is better, meaning that students with disabilities should be in a separate classroom with other students that are similar to them. This thought is just not reality. In fact, research shows that typical children and children with disabilities learn as much or more in an inclusive classroom.
Go, Seiko.
He had no exposure to the outside world. He spent his entire day with 5 other kids who couldn't talk. He was in speech therapy with kids who couldn't talk, and he wasn't talking.
He's much more independent, and that's what we want for all our children, to be independent.
My sister, who's 36 years old right now, was born with Down syndrome.
We're all going to live in a society where not everyone is the same.
My mom truly believed in inclusive education and kept her in with her peers. She graduated with all the ribbons on her gown. She has now held a job for 16 years.
Well, inclusive education is educating children with disabilities in a general education classroom rather than a separate special education classroom, and providing support so that they can be successful there.
Students without disabilities benefit and gain several things from having students with disabilities in their classroom. To name a few, they gain respect for others, they learn patience, and they also gain empathy. Those important qualities carry over into interactions with their parents, other adults in their lives, and their fellow peers. On the other hand, students with disabilities are able to learn important social skills that will benefit them as adults that they might not have otherwise learned in a classroom with other students that have similar or even more severe disabilities. Another concern that you might have is, do I have to change the way that I've been teaching? I don't know how to teach to a student with a disability. I want to address this concern by quoting Megan Hall when she said, "In my 16 years of teaching, I've never met a parent or a teacher who didn't desperately want their child to succeed." Of course, teachers want the students that are in their classrooms to understand the lessons that they have so carefully come up with. We are aware that each student has a learning style that works best for them. For example, some learn kinesthetically, while there will be others that absorb more information from auditory learning. With that being said, as teachers, it is not only our goal, but our job to try and reach every student that comes into our classroom. Why should it matter if they are classified as a special education student or a regular education student? So to go back to the concern at hand, no, the way you teach doesn't have to change. You will only need to tweak the level of the material that you are giving to a student that has special needs. That is no different than helping out a student that is in a regular education classroom to understand a lesson that they did not fully grasp the first time you taught it. We're teachers. We help students learn. It's just what we do. The next concern you might be thinking about is, if I constantly have to modify my lesson plans and stop to go back over material, won't that slow me down and add more work to the pile I already have? Honestly, yes. If you want to be the absolute best teacher that you can possibly be, then you will have to put in a little extra work. But before you start to feel overwhelmed, let me also calm that concern by telling you that you are not solely responsible for the core education of the students with special needs in your classroom.
We sit down at the beginning of each year, we kind of go through, okay, these are the children, these are their needs, this is what you are responsible for. And once they realize, oh, I'm not really responsible for their core instruction, they kind of relax a little bit. But we try to do as much team teaching as possible. You know, either myself or one of my assistants will go in there and we'll help modify, you know, kind of on the spot. Like if there's a math lesson and I see kids struggling, I'll say, well, if you did it this way, you know, and it's great, like once you find that relationship with a teacher where you can just jump in and team teach. But also, I mean, the teachers at this school are just, they're great. I mean, they are very accepting as well. And, you know, for the most part, they enjoy having our kids in their classrooms. It takes a lot of collaboration, and it's not always easy, but, you know, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it for both sides of the coin, both the kids being in a regular classroom and then the regular kids having the special ed kids in their classroom.
There is lots of planning that happens before the student with special needs has an arrangement in place for their education. This is where an IEP comes into play. An IEP is an individualized education program. The Individuals with Disabilities Educating Act, or IDEA, provides guidelines for team procedures to be used in the special education process. So, a team consisting of the student's parents, regular classroom teacher, a special education teacher, an administrator, and any other person or persons with knowledge regarding the student, such as the child's speech pathologist, will all come together to develop, review, and revise an IEP. The IEP sets academic goals for the student each year. This will help you, the teacher, to know what to expect and will also allow for you to plan ahead. This collaboration, along with a co-teacher, will help you to manage your lesson plans, classroom time, and strategies for teaching an inclusive class. I want to present a challenge to you today. I want to challenge you to not see inclusion as more work or as a burden, but as an opportunity to become a better teacher. For many years, children with disabilities were seen as a problem, or, forgive my use of the word, stupid. They were ostracized into separate classrooms where they were not seen or thought about. We now know that was not the best strategy, and that just because a child might need a few accommodations, it doesn't mean that they aren't smart or that they can't learn the things that children in regular education classrooms can learn.
A mental model is a deeply ingrained set of beliefs based on assumptions, generalizations, history, experience, lack of experience, media images. Basically, it's how we think about stuff. Think about it as your internal personal algorithm. When you're faced with a decision, before you're even conscious of it, your internal model is already going to work. And for many of us, our mental model around disability reflects the medical model. Something to fear, something to feel sorry for, something to fix. And we can feel good when we help people we see as less fortunate. But what if we changed our internal model? What if we decided to see disability not as a negative, but as neutral? And what if we understood that the environment could be a disabling factor? What if we decided to see children with disabilities as children first, and not as a disability, or as a label, or as special?
I hope that today I have helped you to not only let go of your concerns, but to get excited about having students with special needs in your classrooms. After all, it is our job as teachers to focus not on what a student can't do, but to help them grow in understanding and see only what they can do. Thank you.
Don't limit me by making me class mascot. Teach me what you expect from me. Set high expectations, not impossible expectations. There is a difference, you know. You will learn a lot from me. Good teachers teach and learn with their students. I will teach you a lot about yourself. I will teach your students about people with disabilities. If you don't limit me, we will teach our school how to be an inclusive community. You, my teacher, are the person who's going to teach me power, passion, love, and independence. And I will become a powerful, passionate, loving, and independent adult. So please don't limit me. My name is Megan Baumgart. Thank you for your time today. Have a wonderful new school year.